Office from President Trump. President Biden, the First Lady, Dr. Jill Biden, and the Biden family walking the shortened parade route in their masks right to the White House. The presidential limo, the Beast, the license plate now reading 46. The First Lady at the entrance of the White House resting her head on the president's chest. Tonight, the first images of President Biden working in the Oval Office, signing executive actions, and we'll go down the list. Former President Trump leaving the White House for the last time this morning. The first president in more than 150 years to skip the inauguration. Trump saying, "We will see each other again." Wishing the new administration great luck and great success, never mentioning President Biden by name. His final flight to Mar-a-Lago aboard Air Force One. The major power shift on Capitol Hill tonight, one of her first official acts, Vice President Harris swearing in 3 new Democratic senators. Democrats now in control of the Senate, the House, and the White House. And what we're learning tonight about when the impeachment trial could begin. The coronavirus tonight, the concern over vaccines running out in this country, and now a new variant in the U.S. And the youngest inaugural poet ever. Her words today, inspiring the nation.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is a special edition of World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening on this historic night in America, something we witness as a nation together every 4 years, a peaceful transfer of power. But we all know that notion was tested in recent weeks. But today, America's new president, Joe Biden, saying democracy has prevailed, saying, "I will be a president for all Americans," calling for unity. The president-elect Joe Biden, shortly before noon, taking the oath of office as America's 46th president, entering office amid multiple crises at once. First running for president more than 30 years ago, his heartbreak and hard work, his empathy, bringing him to this moment. The Bidens embracing after the swearing in, using the Biden family Bible in the family for more than 100 years. Vice President-elect Kamala Harris was sworn in just before him as the first woman vice president, the first black, the first Asian American VP, the daughter of immigrants of black and Indian heritage. She is now the highest ranking woman in American history. Sharing this moment with former President Barack Obama as he now witnesses history made by her today. Former President Obama tweeting today to the new president, "Congratulations to my friend, this is your time." Vice President Mike Pence there for the inauguration, President Trump skipping it. Vice President Harris escorting former Vice President Pence down the steps of the Capitol. Former President Trump and the former First Lady leaving the White House early this morning. One last trip on Air Force One for Florida. His message to supporters and to the incoming administration in a moment. Late this afternoon, the First family arriving at the White House and the First Lady putting her head on the president's chest before heading inside the White House. Tonight here, President Joe Biden already at work. The executive actions already, and we're going to guide you through it all. We begin with ABC's chief White House correspondent, Cecilia Vega, leading us off.
Today, Joe Biden's nearly 50-year political career led him up the steps of the Capitol, through its halls, and into history. Sworn in at an extraordinary time, the nation's enormous challenges laid bare right in front of him. There was no huge crowd, the audience socially distanced, a mask on every face. But 3 of Biden's predecessors were on hand: the Clintons, the Bushes, and the Obamas. Former President Obama exchanging fist bumps with Kamala Harris, who was about to make so much history of her own as the first woman, the first black American, and the first person of Southeast Asian descent to be vice president.
The Vice President of the United States, the Honorable Michael R. Pence and Mrs. Karen Pence.
The man she would replace, Mike Pence, there too, though former President Trump was not. The Capitol still bearing scars of what happened there just 2 weeks ago. Today, a special honor given to one Capitol police officer who tried to fend off that violent mob.
United States Capitol Police Officer, Private First Class Eugene O. Goodman.
But this was a day for celebration, complete with Lady Gaga. Harris first to take the oath, making her the highest-ranking elected woman in American history. Sworn in by another first, Justice Sonia Sotomayor, the first Latina on the Supreme Court.
I, Kamala Davy Harris, do solemnly swear.
And then the moment Joe Biden has wanted his entire life. his hand on the Bible that has been in his family for more than 100 years.
I, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. So help you God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
A kiss for the emotional new First Lady. Then President Biden got to work, setting out to heal this nation after the hard-fought election and its bitter aftermath.
This is America's day. This is democracy's day. A day of history and hope, of renewal and resolve. We've learned again that democracy is precious. Democracy is fragile. And at this hour, my friends, democracy has prevailed.
Still, the new president calling this a time of testing.
We face an attack on our democracy and on truth, a raging virus, growing inequity, the sting of systemic racism, a climate in crisis, America's role in the world. To overcome these challenges, to restore the soul and secure the future of America, requires so much more than words. It requires the most elusive of all things in a democracy: unity. Unity.
He demanded an end to what he called an uncivil war pitting red against blue, rural versus urban, conservative versus liberal. He did not mention Donald Trump, but he did extend an olive branch to the millions of Americans who voted for him.
To all those who did not support us, let me say this. Hear me out as we move forward. Take a measure of me and my heart. Yet hear me clearly. Disagreement must not lead to disunion. And I pledge this to you. I will be a president for all Americans. All Americans. And I promise you, I will fight as hard for those who did not support me as for those who did.
Biden warning these divisions cannot stand as we enter what may be the deadliest period of this pandemic.
We must set aside politics and finally face this pandemic as one nation. One nation. We will get through this together. Together.
In his first act as president, Biden asking for a moment of silence to remember the 400,000 Americans killed.
Let's say a silent prayer for those who've lost their lives and those left behind, and for our country.
Biden then making this promise to the nation he now leads.
I give you my word. I will always level with you. I will defend the Constitution. I'll defend our democracy. I'll defend America. And together we shall write an American story of hope, not fear, of unity, not division, of light, not darkness, and the story that tells ages yet to come that we answer the call of history.
President Biden on the steps of the Capitol today. Let's get right to Cecilia Vega at the White House tonight. And Cecilia, I want to go back to that image we showed at the top tonight. President Biden, the First Lady, her head on his chest as they arrived at the North Portico of the White House, the weight of the moment catching up to them. And Cecilia, you've learned that when the new president entered the Oval Office today, that there was actually a letter waiting from former President Trump. He had skipped the inauguration, but he kept that one tradition of leaving a letter.
Yeah, and it was a big question, David, leading into today because, as you know, the president has extended so few of the niceties usually offered by a president to his successor. But yes, this letter was on the Resolute desk. We're told it surprised even people in President Trump's orbit. They weren't sure if he would actually do it. But President Biden, now in the Oval Office behind me, speaking to reporters just a short time ago, said that the letter was there, but it was private. He didn't want to tell us what was in it. But David, he did say that it was a very generous letter and that he wanted to speak to President Trump before he released the results of it.
All right, generous was the word he used. Cecilia Vega leading us off. Cecilia, thank you. President Biden